Sami Zayn, a man who went from the ultimate underdog to one of the most emotionally connected wrestlers in WWE history. Throughout his run, he's shown his ability to maximize every role he's placed in, and it's what made him the most entertaining acts of the company. He's won almost every championship WWE has to offer except for the one that matters most, the World Champion. But even with the fan support pushing for that moment, it feels like no matter who's in charge, 10 years later, and Sami is still not seen as the next guy to be the World Champion. Hola everyone, my name is Nando, and for today's video we're going to be looking at Sami Zayn's career in the WWE, but most importantly, how his story as an underdog is one of the most frustrating tales that I've ever seen in wrestling, and how it seems like we're very far from the idea of WWE actually thinking that Sami Zayn is worthy of being a world champion. Let's get on with the video. Now let's start with majority of his run in the main roster, which was around the Vince McMahon era. And Vince 1000% did not see anything in Sami Zayn. For a guy that was beloved in the indies, was the underdog here in NXT, was nothing more than a guy that kept eating losses in his main roster run, never really being given a proper chance to be one of the top guys of the roster, even when he was always given great reactions from the crowd. But one of the few things that kept him hanging around the top acts on TV was his act with Kevin Owens, whether he's facing him or teaming with him. But even when Sami went solo, he spent majority of his run as a heel because, in Sami's words,
I think Vince saw me much more as a bad guy for a number of reasons. I think he saw my irksome qualities in me that he thought lent itself very good to being an irksome character.
So even when we all saw Sami as the next underdog wrestler that was this generation's Daniel Bryan, Vince saw him more as the bad guy. I mean, do you still want him back? And yes, while Sami Zayn was a very entertaining heel, WWE back then really lacked character in their baby faces because they were all smiley and no emotions were attached to them. While Sami Zayn had more heart than that through his promos in wrestling, and that's what made us get behind him for so many years. But then things started to turn up for Sami Zayn when he tried to join the Bloodline, doing his best to seek approval from the group and fighting for them when needed because that's how dedicated he was to the group. He was helping the group, taking attacks for the group. Hell, he was constantly known for making the Bloodline break character on live TV. But whatever role Sami was given, he did it with excellence, and that's what helped convince the Bloodline to let him join them. Now keep this in mind, the Bloodline were very much a heel group, but they were the most popular group with the best storyline going on, and so Sami Zayn, even while being a heel, was adored by the fans as a babyface. And that's why I feel that I have this lukewarm take that he should have been the one to face Roman at Wrestlemania 39, not Cody. I say this for many reasons. One, we do not have a year-long storyline just for it to end and be sidelined for a B-show pay-per-view. The build-up towards Cody and Roman, at least in my opinion, I did not think they matched really well together, because their promo exchanges always felt like more should have been said, but weren't. Hell, even for their WrestleMania 40 build, Roman was still uninvested with building something serious with Cody, as there was more genuine build-up from Cody's program with The Rock than he did with Roman. And come on, let's not forget the pop. Over 50,000 people screamed in unison as Sami finally stepped up to Roman. It was one of the greatest pops in wrestling history. How do you take that reaction and not give the belt to Sami? Sami was so beloved that WWE decided to not put him in the 2023 Royal Rumble because they did not want Sami Zayn to Daniel Bryan 2014 and 2015 the Royal Rumble match. Had he been there just to lose and leaving Cody to be booed off the building like he was Batista or Roman Reigns had he won. That's how much aura Sami's babyface run had, and they didn't run with it. But they still kept on with Cody, which makes sense as he was being positioned as the face of the company and the storyline worked to perfection. But you'll see a running theme throughout this video, and it's that they're constantly cucking Sami out of big WrestleMania matches for the World Champion. But back to Roman, Sami was given a shot against him for the World Champion at Elimination Chamber in his home of Canada. But again, it's a B-show pay-per-view before WrestleMania, so with that, it gave people zero expectations that Sami was winning, and people were exactly right to think that. And yes, they did give Sami his crowning moment by having him main event WrestleMania and win the tag team champions, which in all is a great moment, but again, it's not the world champion. Then came WrestleMania 40, and this... Oh, this pissed me off big time. WrestleMania 40. If you couldn't give us the belt for Sami at WrestleMania 39, then you should have absolutely done it here. He was the top babyface on Raw. He was always around the top storylines, including being around the world title feud between Seth and Drew. People wanted to see a triple threat match between all three with Sami winning, but sadly, Triple H thought otherwise. And that otherwise... was diminishing two beloved babyfaces all in one storyline. So in 2023, Gunther was becoming the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, dominating the whole division and staying undefeated. But then Gunther got approached by Chad Gable, but Gunther didn't see him as a threat, to which Gunther mocked that Chad Gable couldn't even last 5 minutes against him. So when the match happened, Chad Gable survived in those 5 minutes, counting Gunther out, leaving Chad Gable to be the very first person to beat Gunther, which became personal to Gunther, and he wanted nothing more than to kill Chad Gable. But this was such great stuff for Chad Gable, as he was finally being elevated to big opportunities instead of just being a jobber. So Chad and Gunther had a title match that had big stakes on the line, because this match determines whether Gunther breaks the record to become the longest reigning IC champion. Gunther did eventually win, but did it in such brutal fashion, killing Chad Gable right in front of his crying child. This was excellent heel heat for Gunther, but it gave such amazing fuel for Chad Gable, as it will just make his eventual comeback win at WrestleMania 40 as he wins his first singles champion. Right? I can't believe this, because why could we be so simple when we can pull off the most Vince McMahon "we changed plans, pal" booking that I've ever seen? Because Sami Zayn was going on these depressive tangents about not getting a match at WrestleMania, and out of desperation, he felt that he had to go for the Intercontinental Champion. So Raw announced a gauntlet match to see who faces Gunther at WrestleMania 40, and they had Sami Zayn run most of the gauntlet match, leaving Chad Gable to be the last man to enter the match, which is such poor booking. Chad Gable has been the desperate man for this. He has more right to prove that he's got what it takes than Sami does, but yet they hand the underdog position to Sami, and they still had Sami beat him, leaving Sami to steal Chad Gable's story and to be the one to beat Gunther for the title, leaving Chad Gable to not get revenge for his daughter. He didn't get his WrestleMania moment, nor was he at WrestleMania at all. I despise Sami Zayn so much for this, because instead of being the underdog and going for the world champion, he stooped down to take Chad Gable, a man who never gets big opportunities for himself, just to win a title that he's already won, while Chad Gable has never won a singles champion. And to add to that, the more Sami was holding the belt, the more people were getting fed up with him, because they had Chad Gable turn heel for some reason, but they still had Sami beat him 2 pay-per-views later, which upsetted people, because again, we all wanted Chad Gable to have this moment. Sami stole his. Sami did try fighting Gunther for the world champion, but just like always in Sami Zayn's current babyface run, he's just always the first babyface that the heel champion beat first to help establish their title reign. Then WWE announced that the 2026 Royal Rumble will be hosted in Saudi Arabia. Oh my gosh, wait! Sami Zayn has a heritage connected to Saudi Arabia. This literally has his Rumble win written all over it. And if you thought that idea made too much sense, you can see why Triple H didn't want to do it. Because why have Sami get his big moment for the Saudi crowd when he can do what he's booked to do best, and that's just being the first babyface that loses to the new heel champion. And unfortunately, no one really bought into Sami winning, because of course they didn't. Sami Zayn's booking with the world champion is so bad that Sami Zayn actually tried to pitch himself in getting a world title win. That's how bad it is, people. Sami Zayn, the kindest heart in the business, politic for the very first time to get his first World Championship win because he knows the booker isn't giving it to him. Here's the thing about Sami. He's so great at promos, but specifically what makes them so great is that he makes you believe. Even when the chances seem non-existent for him, he will cut a promo that will make you believe that a slim chance of him winning does exist for him, and that's what makes Sami such a great wrestler. But unfortunately, he's written so poorly that I don't think this underdog will ever get an opportunity to win the big one. He's just a title defense filler. But even when they do build all the stock to have him win something, it's usually the complete opposite of what people wanted him to win. Sami Zayn is 41 years old right now and is long overdue for a world champion, because if this guy can get a world champion, so should Sami. Next year's Wrestlemania will be hosted at Saudi Arabia. If Sami doesn't even get his world title win there, then I don't know how long you can continue hoping for his chance to happen. Like the video if you enjoyed it, as it truly helps the channel out, and subscribe as we're on the road to 280 subscribers. And until next time.